I once saw a man riding a bicycle in the blazing summer noon, sweat streaming down, breath heavy. He kept his head low, pedaling hard, thinking he was moving fast. But it wasn't until I got closer that I realized his back wheel was stuck in the sand. He wasn't going anywhere, just spinning in place. Every turn of the pedal dropped another bead of sweat. I watched and thought, perhaps life for many people is exactly like that. They're so busy that they no longer notice they aren't moving forward. Packed schedules, back-to-back meetings, endless emails, deadlines, and notifications. Yet by the weekend, when they look back, they're still at the starting line, only more tired, more confused. People often mistake motion for progress. They believe that doing more means succeeding, that being busy means being valuable. But you know, sometimes running faster doesn't get you there sooner if you're running in the wrong direction. I used to work 16 hours a day and felt proud of my diligence, until I realized I was just spinning in circles with countless small tasks. True success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what's right. Not from sweat, but from the leverage of intelligence. And in today's video, I'll share with you 5 principles to help you stop being busy and start being effective, so that every hour you live truly brings you closer to your goal. Stay until the end, because Principle #5 will make you rethink everything about how you work each day. Principle 1. Busy is a feeling, effective is a result. I once asked a young student of mine, "How do you feel about your past week?" He replied, "Very busy, sir. I worked from morning till late at night, barely had time to rest." I smiled and asked again, "So what did you achieve from all those busy days?" He was silent. You see, busy is just a feeling. Effective is the result. We often mistake exhaustion for progress. But sweat doesn't always equal results. Some people work 10 hours a day and feel drained. Others work only 5 and achieve twice as much. The difference isn't in time, it's in the impact of what they do. I remember when I was young, I used to be proud of my packed schedule. I ran everywhere, attended endless meetings, took notes on everything. I thought I was giving my all, until one day I looked back at my to-do list and realized most of it was just busy but useless. I did a lot, but nothing that truly moved me closer to my goal. I learned that hard work isn't wrong, but blind hard work is dangerous, because you can be great at climbing, but if it's the wrong mountain, you'll never reach where you want to be. Busy is when you're trapped in someone else's schedule. Effective is when you control your own time. Busy people try to do everything. Effective people choose to do what truly matters. Ask yourself, how many hours today did you spend on work that truly creates value? And how many hours did you spend cleaning up someone else's mess? The difference between ordinary people and successful ones lies in how they allocate their energy. Ordinary people scatter it across everything. Successful people focus it on the one thing that matters most. Like sunlight, it shines everywhere but isn't strong enough to burn anything. But when concentrated into a laser, it can cut through steel. The difference between busy and effective is the same focus. Today's world glorifies busyness. Everyone wants to appear full multitasking, always active. But have you noticed it's often the calm, quiet ones, the ones who do less, who achieve extraordinary results? They aren't distracted by noise, they choose silence to focus. And in that silence, they make strides others take years to achieve. Don't let busyness steal your awareness. Jim Rohn, remember, your energy is limited. If you spend it on small things, you won't have enough for the big ones. And if you keep running without looking at the path, you'll only get farther from your destination. From today on, before starting your day, pause for a few minutes and ask, does what I'm about to do truly bring me closer to my goal? If the answer is not sure, then maybe you're just busy, not effective. And to not only work hard, but work smart, you must understand something deeper, the difference between effort and leverage. Principle 2, the difference between effort and leverage. I once met a man who worked tirelessly. He arrived earlier than everyone and left later than anyone else. He proudly told me, "Sir, I've worked 16 hours a day for the past 2 years. Not a single day off." I smiled and asked, "So how much has your income increased since the first day?" He hesitated. "Actually, it's about the same." I looked at him and gently said, "You're not lacking effort, you're lacking leverage." Effort keeps you alive. Leverage sets you free. We're all taught to work hard, but if you stop at hard work, you'll only trade time for money. If you use leverage, you'll turn time into assets. Imagine trying to lift a huge rock with your bare hands, that's effort. But when you use a lever, a steel bar, and a pivot point, you can lift it with little force. Same result, different method. Effort is good, but without leverage, it exhausts you. Leverage helps you do more or even less and achieve far more. I remember when I was younger, I was also a man of effort. I thought success simply meant doing more than others. But then I realized effort without strategy only makes you tired faster, not successful faster. When I learned to use leverage, everything changed. I learned to invest in systems, not just tasks. Collaborate with people better than me instead of doing everything myself. Use technology to save time instead of letting it distract me. Focus on long-term value, not instant gratification. I still work hard, but now each hour produces 10 times more results than before. In today's world, leverage isn't just a physical tool, it's intelligence and mindset. Look around you. A salesperson using AI to automate their workflow. A creator repurposing one piece of content into dozens of formats. An investor letting money work for them. They're all using leverage while most people are still sweating in the endless grind. Leverage also comes from people. I once said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Smart people don't just seek teammates to share work, they seek partners to multiply impact. That's why successful people always have a system behind them. They know how to build bridges, not climb mountains alone. Ask yourself every day, what am I putting effort into? And does that effort have leverage if you're working more, but your results stay the same? Maybe you forgot to build a system. And sometimes just one right decision, learning a new skill, automating a process, or building a team can double your output without adding more hours. Effort is what you must do. Leverage is what helps you do it right. One person may row all their life, while another simply raises a sail and lets the wind carry them farther. Both are working. But one uses muscle, the other uses mind. And as I once said, work hard at your job, but work even smarter on yourself. But how do you know what's real leverage and what just makes you feel like you're moving forward? The answer lies in a timeless rule that every successful person knows by heart, the Pareto 80/20 principle. Principle 3, the Pareto 80/20 rule: 20% of work creates 80% of value. I once told a young student, if you find yourself always busy, but your results don't change, chances are you're spending 80% of your energy on things that only bring 20% of the value. He was silent for a moment and then admitted, "Sir, that's true. I do a lot, but by the end of the day, there's nothing significant." I smiled. It's not that you're doing things wrong. You just haven't learned to choose the right things to do. In life, most people don't fail because they're lazy, but because they're scattered. They do too many things, and none of them truly matter. They run nonstop, but don't know where they're going. They're proud of being busy, but forget that busyness doesn't equal progress. That's when you need to understand the Pareto 80/20, rule, one of the foundational principles of all lasting success. What is the Pareto rule? 80% of your results come from just 20% of your actions. 80% of your profits come from 20% of your customers. 80% of your progress comes from 20% of the habits you consistently maintain. But the paradox is most people spend 80% of their time on things that only yield 20% of the results. They react all day instead of acting proactively. They answer messages, handle incidents, put out one small fire after another, and forget to check whether their bigger house is collapsing. I remember in my early startup years, I fell into that trap too. I took notes, met people scheduled, ran from place to place. I worked 14 hours a day, but when I looked back, I had only moved forward a few small steps. A mentor once told me, "Jim, if you keep trying to do everything, you'll never do anything truly great." That sentence changed the way I lived. I started writing down everything I did in a week, then marked the 3 most truly important tasks. I realized that if I just did those 3 things really well each day, my results equaled the entire previous month combined. From then on, I called them my 3 golden levers, 3 small tasks that delivered the greatest value of the day. I focused all my energy, attention, and heart on them. When I learned to remove the excess, my productivity doubled and a sense of inner peace returned. Times have changed, but that rule still holds. A content creator can make 10 videos, but only 2 truly spread. An entrepreneur can try 10 strategies, but only 1 brings in 80% of revenue. A diligent employee can complete 10 tasks, but only 2 bring him closer to his career goals. Success doesn't come from doing more, it comes from choosing what's most worth doing. I often say, the 80/20 rule is like a microscope for life. When you put it on, you can clearly see what truly creates value and what is just noise. You realize, not every invitation is worth accepting. Not every opportunity is worth pursuing. Not every effort is worth expending. Successful people don't try to do everything. They remove the unnecessary to pour all their energy into the most important thing. They don't run faster, they run in the right direction. They don't do more, they work with focus. A wise person doesn't mow the lawn when the house is on fire. Pause and ask yourself, among everything I'm doing, what 20% truly creates 80% of the value? And do I have the courage to let go of the other 80%? Success doesn't require you to do more. Success only requires you to know what deserves your energy. Because each day you still have only 24 hours, but the person who chooses the right things will live 24 hours that are worth 10 times more than someone else's. But if you're still not sure whether you're truly moving forward or just running in circles, the next principle will help you see it more clearly than ever. Principle 4, how to check whether you're working or just running in circles. I once told my students that there are two types of people in this world. The first runs all-day sweat, pouring non-stop schedules packed from morning to night, but never knows where they're going. The second is the opposite. They don't move much, but every step they take has direction, reason, and a clear goal. The young student sitting before me once asked, "Sir, how do I know which type I am?" I looked at him and said, "It's very simple. Look at your results and your feelings at the end of each workday. If every night you lie down feeling exhausted, empty, and unsure of what you truly achieved, you're likely just running in circles. But if you feel calm, clear, and know that today you moved a little closer to your goal, that's when you're truly working." The difference between busyness and progress is always subtle but clear. Busyness makes you feel like you're being useful, while progress makes your life truly meaningful. Many people spend their whole lives in the work cycle without realizing they're merely moving within a giant circle. They wake up, rush into work, react to all kinds of situations, extinguish one fire after another, then end the day with the familiar line, "Today was so long, but I don't know what I actually accomplished." They mistake motion for progress, exhaustion for growth, and the world's noise for their own movement. You can run very fast, but if you're running in the wrong direction, you only get farther from your destination. I often advise students to try a very simple test. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you did that day and ask yourself 3 questions. Did this help me get closer to my long-term goal? If I stop doing this, what's the worst that would happen? And can someone else do this instead of me? If you answer no, nothing, and yes, then congratulations, you've just uncovered a useless loop that's taking over your life. We don't lack time. We lack honesty when reflecting on how we use it. Busy people try to do more. Effective people dare to stop and look. I once had a student named Daniel. He worked in marketing and was always proud of being multitasking. He opened dozens of tabs, replied to hundreds of emails, was in meetings all day, and constantly updated metrics. He believed busyness was proof of value. But after 6 months, revenue was flat. One day I asked Daniel, among everything you do, what actually generates revenue? He was silent, then whispered, "Sir, I don't know," I said. "Then it's time you find out. Because if you don't know what creates value, you'll stay busy and stay broke." 3 months later, Daniel changed his approach. He eliminated 70% of the time-wasting tasks and focused only on 2 things, creating quality content and meeting potential customers. The results were surprising. Revenue tripled, and for the first time he felt he was working less but creating more value. That lesson is simple but powerful. You don't need to do more. You need to understand better. Everything you do must have a thread, connecting it to a larger goal. If not, no matter how persistent you are, you're just running in circles in a maze you built yourself. Many people blame circumstances, time, and others, but the real issue is direction. You can't control the wind, but you can control the sail. If your sail is off, even with a favorable wind, you'll still drift the wrong way. I always remind myself of one thing: energy shouldn't be used to keep the wheel spinning, but to change direction. Before starting a new day, I always write down the 3 most truly important tasks to complete. Each must directly relate to my long-term goals. If none do, I stop, rethink, and don't start until I find something worthy of my full effort. Because doing the wrong thing for a day costs you a day. Doing the wrong thing for a year can cost you a lifetime. I often ask my students, if today were your last day, is what you're doing truly worth it? Many people are silent for a long time because they've never thought about it. But that very moment of silence is the beginning of awakening. Only when you dare to face this question do you begin to live in the right direction. Sometimes one right question can change an entire wrong journey. And when you learn to pause and look at your own map, you'll see one thing clearly: you don't need to do less, you just need to do better. True effectiveness doesn't come from speed, but from direction. And to keep that direction, you must learn to simplify your system so your energy doesn't leak into the unnecessary. When the system is simplified, your passion is free to shine. That is exactly what I want to share with you in the next principle: simplify the system, not the passion. Principle 5, simplify the system, not the passion. I once had a young student full of enthusiasm and ambition. He tried every self-improvement method he could find, waking up at 5 a.m., making to-do lists, learning time management, tracking every minute. He did everything to simplify his life and become more productive. But after a few months, he came to me looking exhausted and said, "Sir, I've cut down on so many things, I've simplified everything, but why does life feel even more chaotic and tiring than before?" I smiled and replied, "Because maybe you've simplified the wrong thing." Many people misunderstand simplicity as cutting out as much as possible, doing less, or slowing down. But true simplicity isn't about removing, it's about clarifying what's worth keeping. It's not about the quantity of work, but the quality of focus. Simplicity doesn't mean abandoning your goals. It means eliminating what keeps you from them. It doesn't make you less, it makes you clearer. I once said, smart people don't do less, they just do fewer meaningless things. What exhausts people isn't action, but chaos. Not because you do too much, but because you constantly change direction, constantly start, and rarely finish. You can't simplify passion, but you can simplify the path that leads to it. And that's the difference between those who are effective and those who are merely busy. Busy people try to do as many things as possible. Effective people choose the right thing and devote all their energy to it. I still remember my early years as a speaker. I too was in chaos. For every talk, I spent hours preparing because I had no clear process. I believed I was creatively free, but in reality, I was repeating mistakes. Until one day, I sat down, rewrote my entire workflow, and created a system, a standard framework for every speech, a preparation process, and a consistent practice routine. Once I had a system, I was no longer drained. I had more energy to create, more time to think, and more joy in my work. That's when I realized a system doesn't cage passion, it protects it from burnout. Today, you can see this more clearly than ever. An inefficient content creator often starts from scratch every time: new music, new editing style, new concept, and quickly burns out. Meanwhile, successful creators have their own systems, fixed posting schedules, preset templates, clear checklists, standardized review processes. It's repetition that gives them freedom. Systems don't kill inspiration, they help it last longer. I once met a man who told me, "Jim, I've tried to simplify everything. I reduced my goals, lowered my expectations, and toned down my ambitions. But now I feel like I've lost my drive." I looked at him and said, "That's not simplicity, that's surrender. True simplicity doesn't dim your fire, it focuses it like a laser. It isn't brighter than the sun, but it's stronger because it's focused." Your passion is the same. It doesn't need to spread everywhere, it just needs to focus on what's worth it. Success is a balance of two elements, system and passion. The system keeps you disciplined when emotions fade. Passion fuels the system when discipline becomes dry. If you have passion without a system, you'll burn out fast. If you have a system without passion, you'll live without feeling. But when the two unite, you become unstoppable. Simplicity isn't meant to make you live less, but to live deeper. Not to make you do less, but to make every action meaningful. Because in the end, wise people don't do more, they just choose the right things and do them with passion. When you look back on your journey, you'll see life doesn't reward those who do the most, but those who do the right things. You can be busy to the point of exhaustion, but if each step isn't toward your true goal, all your effort is just a circle. You can work day and night, but without a system, without focus, without leverage, you're just pedaling in the sand. Success doesn't come from hustle, it comes from the wisdom of structure. It's not the one who works more who wins, but the one who channels energy into what creates the most value. Because 1 hour of focused work is worth more than a week of aimless busyness. If you truly want to go far, don't ask, "What more can I do?" Ask, "What can I remove to focus better?" Choose the right 20% of work that creates 80% of the value. Use leverage instead of relying only on effort. Check each day whether you're moving forward or just going in circles. And simplify your system, but never your passion. Because in the end, effectiveness isn't about doing things faster, it's about doing them right. Success isn't about going far, it's about going in the right direction. True victory isn't in how many things you complete, but in the value you leave behind through each one. You and I both have a gift, it's called today. Use it wisely. Jim Rohn. If you feel these lessons truly resonate with you, hit like and subscribe, to continue this journey with me, where we learn to live more effectively, more deeply, and with greater purpose every day. I'm Jim Rohn, and I'll see you in the next video on Jim Rohn Treasures.